It was 40, and your team also kind of needed every single one of them. How kind of fulfilling is that aspect of it all, that it's coming within the flow, you hit this amazing number, and you're also leading the charge during a critical point of the game?
I feel like it's nice to have that kind of like scoring output when, like you said, like when we need it. But yeah, I think a lot of it too was, I think I'm most happy about like not having to force anything, and that's a lot of that is just the team and how we play. So a lot of it was just shots within offense, transition, just like scoring the way that we want to play. So I just happened to be the benefactor of that, and that was so I think that's what made it pretty cool.
You mentioned maybe last week about like kind of thinking bigger than your own offense, and like what shots are we getting possession after possession.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like it was never more than one possession in a row where you had like a tough look as a team. What's gone into your ability to kind of help make sure that you guys are executing to the point where you're getting something really good each time down?
Trusting each other. I think just like fundamentals of like how we want to play on offense. So like playing with pace, setting good screens, cutting, just doing stuff that helps each other. Like a lot of like the invisible stuff that goes into like making a possession good. And I think we've been doing a really good job of that. So when we're able to generate those looks, make or miss, just over time, it gives you flow with offense. And I think that's why we've been kind of successful. It's why we've been generating good looks and hitting like wide open shots.
And the lobs are lobbing.
Yeah, they are. They are lobbing right now. I think I threw one to Hart. Did I really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Shout out Hart. I did throw two of them actually. Yeah, one of them was bad. The other one was good. But it's something that we talk about. Something that's there. We've been getting better at it as we've been able to play more and more. So he does a good job of like kind of pointing and just making eye contact with him. We're kind of figuring that aspect of it out.
When they make 16 threes in the first half, like they did, how difficult is it for you guys not to overreact or swing too far in the other direction when they're doing that?
It's very frustrating, but that is how basketball's played, and it's kind of something you have to live with. I think there were a couple that we could have cut out, which is what we were more, I think, frustrated with. But I mean, that's the NBA. They get paid to play basketball too, so they're going to hit shots. But I think that's the maturity that we're coming with as a team. Like we kind of understand that there's going to be runs, they're going to hit shots. Kind of just stay in the course. So I think we've done a really good job of that all year. We've had games like that where people shoot above expectation, and just trying to stay the course. And I think too, understanding that at some point you got to be able to make them miss too. And I thought we kind of clamped down for a little bit defensively, which kind of gave us a bigger lead.
And then just in the fourth quarter for you, what were you looking for? What were you able to get to that led to just kind of the run that you went on there?
I think we did a good job getting stops that gave us space in transition. I know I had a couple like transition buckets. I thought we did a good job buckling down on defense for that stint. And yeah, guys just moving without the ball. I thought Wiggs was really good. Queso played really well. So just adding some of those guys in that were obviously giving us space and playing off the catch and just doing a good job of like playing around the offense. I think that's why we kind of got out to a good lead.
You guys have been living on the road. You faced a few different storms tonight. What did you like best about just sort of the response that you had last 15 minutes of the game or so before this one away?
Yeah, we strung together stops. We stayed with it. Like we didn't deter or abandon our game plan because they were making shots. We stuck with it. And it paid off in the end. We were able to stretch the lead pretty well. Let's see, what was that? Yeah, we had a really good third quarter. Third quarter was impressive. They scored 23 points, and obviously they were very hot going into that quarter. So to stick with it and not derail from it is what got the job done.
It just seems like, most of the season, almost all the season, but particularly the last few weeks, like, you guys don't go more than one or two possessions with like tough shots in a row. It seems like you're getting a really like a wide open layup or a wide open three, 2 out of every 3 possessions. What goes into maybe the intentionality that you and J-Dub and some of these guys that are kind of helping control the offense are having?
Yeah, we want to give ourselves a best chance possible to score, and doing so, you take good shots, and the ball has energy and offense has a vibe to it. So as long as you're taking good shots, everyone feels good about them. Everybody's ready to play. Everybody's confident in rhythm. And as a result, you score 146 points. Like, no matter how good you are, the open shots and the good shots are better shots than the contested shots, and we know that. And because of that, we been pretty good offensively lately.
Shai, obviously, in the second half, you guys flipped the game on its head, but I think the first half, that's the third 70-point half you guys have given up in the past 3 or 4 games, just over in the past week for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think that was variance? Was that luck? Like, what did you see there? Because the Spurs hit, I believe, it was a franchise record, 3.5.
Yeah, it felt like they were making everything. Yeah, we could be better for sure. Like, there's always controllables. They made tough shots, but they also had some easy ones. And against the best players in the world, you got to cut out the easy ones, and that's the reason why, because they make tough shots as well. And we know that, and that's what our conversation was about at halftime, and I think we did so in the third quarter pretty well.
What was your perspective of the kind of altercation that got Lou and Kenrich ejected?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a blur. I just tried to separate the blur as best as I could. But yeah, I don't even know how it started, what happened. Figure it out. But
Did you think it made sense that Lou, who was involved with Sohan, that he got ejected and Sohan didn't?
yeah, I didn't understand it, but I also didn't inquire much. I didn't ask too many questions. They had already made the decision. They're not going to change their decision, and we had a basketball game to go win, so that's what I was focused on.
What did you see from J-Dub tonight?
Yeah, he was special. He, for sure, the best game of his career. He was poised. He was aggressive. He made big plays at the right times. Made the right plays for most of the night. He was himself. He had it all clicking tonight, and that's why he had a big night.
We know he's capable of those, but when he gets into those modes like he did in the fourth quarter, it just feels like, when he gets to the rim, you have to look out. What's your perspective seeing him on, getting those modes?
Yeah, I always tell him, just let the game tell you what to do. And I think he did a perfect job of it tonight. He was aggressive and just let it all come to him. And he made plays where he could, and he made passes where he could, and they didn't send two, and he was playing with one guy, and he went to work, and he was special, and we saw that. But it's just a testament to his hard work, his patience, and he was ready for the moment.
I know that's his first 40 piece, but what is that like for you to have a teammate that can go get 40?
Yeah, it's fun for sure. I always the most gratifying part about it is the moment of it. So obviously the game's not going our way. He has a big first half, and he comes in the fourth and blows the game wide open, giving us by the time I had checked back in, the game was over. And I think that moment, to step up to the plate and deliver on the road is very impressive, and it says a lot about not only his game and his skill set, but his mindset and his mental and where he's at. And to get to where we want to get to, we're going to need a lot more of that, and I think he'll be ready for it.
Mark, for a really good chunk of this game, you're down 4 rotation players. The guys ejected, and Chet and Isaiah out. What'd you see from your team?
Great toughness, great mental toughness on a night where they shot the ball incredible in the first half. They had 10 threes in the first quarter. They had 6 in the second quarter. And I thought we did a really good job of just kind of sticking to our stuff and not allowing a hot shooting night to kind of allow us to give up the other stuff. It's easy to overreact. And they made 2 threes in the second half. So, that came back to the mean a little bit. We ended up shooting a better percentage from 3 on the game. So I just thought the maturity to just kind of stick with the plan, even though, you don't like seeing the ball go in that much. I actually thought we took a nice step forward tonight on defense, and I thought we took a nice step forward just in terms of our, like I said, collective maturity.
And then what did you see in the scuffle?
I haven't seen it. I was out there, so yeah, I'm not going to see much. Obviously, the refs are reviewing it. Thing I'll say about that is we have not been a team that's retaliated very much. We retaliated tonight, but we have the worst free throw differential in the NBA. So more fouls are being called on us than are being called on our opponents. Cameron Williams, we're in Memphis a couple weeks ago, and he gets cleaned out, elbow to the head. No call, no review. I mean, he could have gotten hurt. Now tonight again, he takes. I don't think it's personal to Champagny, but he takes an elbow on that play. Dort gets illegal screened. More than anybody in the league. He gets cleaned out on screen. So I think there's like a cumulative frustration, and I think our guys finally, got to a point where they had enough. We have to have better poise. We don't want to lose rotation players in big games as a result of that, but we've done a great job of that for a long period of time. And I just think like the cumulative effect of the pummeling that we take on some plays boiled over in that situation.
Mark, this with Lou, I don't believe they showed a replay in arena of that whole thing. Obviously, you mentioned that it was Champagny and Cameron Jacine, which is kind of what started that. But with Lou, for him to get ejected and Sohan to not get ejected, because those were the two who seemed to be involved. Were you surprised by that as well?
No, I get the explanation from James Williams. James Williams ejected him for something Lou said. Fair game. I'm assuming that's what Lou said. If James Williams wants to eject him for that, I think it's justified. Again, the issue I have with that is I've heard with my own ears in the last 2 weeks other players say similar or worse things to officials with no response, right? And the officials are saying we're calibrating to the emotion of the game. It's like, great. If we're calibrating, then Lou Dort, I said this to James Williams out there, and James understands. The inconsistency of those plays is what I have an issue with. If we're calibrating with one player, we should be calibrating with Lou Dort. If there's zero tolerance with Lou Dort, there should be zero tolerance with everybody. They got to figure that out.
So did James say that it was something Lou said in general, or
Yes.
said to him? Or?
It was something Lou said in the altercation. So he was referencing something Lou said. So he ejected him for something that Lou verbally said during the altercation. I went to James after the fact, once the dust settled, and I said, James, I just heard, I gave him the quote. I'm not going to throw it out here right here, but I think they understand that, but I think that's where they really need to work on this because, again, if that's the standard, apply it across every situation. But some nights they say we're calibrating to the emotions of the games, we're using our soft skills, all this stuff. It's like, if that's an ejection, the other thing should be technical fouls. It's plain and simple.
And with Jalen, obviously he has 17 in the fourth. I know you've been doing the lineups he's out there with in the fourth are different from what they were last year. Do you feel like this is as comfortable as he's been late game? Like, what have you seen from him recently to kind of culminate into today?
Well, I think a couple things. I think, number one, he's played well for 3 years. He's a really good player. So I think the force that he's played with, there's been an uptick of that this season. And we went back to, when we were talking about the free throws earlier in the year, driving. He's been on that track and really done a good job. I thought the fourth quarter of the Brooklyn game, he wasn't going to be denied. That unit wasn't going to be denied. He has a contagiousness about him when he does that. And tonight, again, he wasn't going to be denied. He just played with unbelievable force. His foot was on the gas. But, it's important to recognize, he's been doing that all year. That unit did a great job tonight when Shai was off. They've been doing that all year. We looked this up the other day. If he's on the court with Shai off the floor, it's a net rating of almost 10. So we're playing elite basketball in those units. So tonight wasn't an anomaly, but those guys really busted the game open.
Mark, it seems like, especially over the last few weeks and most of the season, you're not going more than 2 possessions in a row with tough shots.
Yep.
Where do you feel like the intentionality is coming from within your team? Is it a collective thing? Is it a focus on good looks coming from particular leaders on the floor? Where do you see that coming from?
Well, I think the first thing is you got to execute in such a way that good shots present themselves on a possession. And I think that's what's really happening right now is we're executing on a high level, which is the cumulative effect of all of our fundamentals. And when you do that, good shots present themselves more often. I think that's a big part of it. And then I think, as usual, the intention of the team is team-oriented. Like, I just thought that stretch in the fourth quarter where we were stringing scores together and really moving the scoreboard, we were just letting the defense tell us what to do on every single possession. But we've been in that mode for a while now. We've played high-level offense for a month and a half. So, again, nothing new tonight, but a great continuation of a bunch of things that we've been doing pretty well.
We've talked about Wiggins and his, kind of consistency to become, more of an every night scorer. Are we seeing something similar with Kaysen? Because it just seems like last handful of games, 10 games or so, it's every night that he's giving you some production.
Yeah, he's been really good confidence. He had that lefty finish on the drive. He got going early. We're going to need those guys. We're going to need everybody. Everybody on the court needs to be a threat on offense. Everybody on the court needs to be, a force on defense. And those two guys have been great lately. Kaysen was great tonight. Wiggins was great tonight. I was impressed with the start he got off to. He didn't get off to a great start in the first half. He didn't play a ton of minutes in the first half, and he went in the third. And I think that's just a good sign of his confidence because the game didn't start the way that he would have liked. But yet he was able to find it within the course of the game.